Jim with GamersBliss.com with you. Continue our coverage of E3 2013. I'm here with Brian, the community manager for Forza 5, which is going to be launch title for Xbox One. Brian, we just had a private meeting, and it was pretty impressive, the things that we saw with Forza 5. The graphics on Xbox One are obviously, amazing. They're much better than Xbox 360. But you guys took that to a different level, in my opinion, and as we spoke about in there. You talked about lighting and the three different bases that you did not just apply to the cars, but actually the whole, the track, the walls, the everything. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
So sure, I think what you're referring to is the physically based materials that we're using in our new graphical engine in Forza Motorsport 5. Essentially, what Bill was referring to indoors there was the 3 layers of paint that are on the car. You have 3 layers in the Pagani Huayra we showed inside. There's 3 layers of paint on that car. There's a base coat, there's a metal flake coat, and finally a clear coat. Each one of these coats refracts and reflects light differently. And what that means is that these cars and all of the materials that are built both in the cars, the interior of the cars, the exterior of the cars, and in the world itself react and reflect light in a natural way, the same way they do in the real world. And that's the result of a ton of research that we did when we began looking at Forza Motorsport 4. We realized that our cars look perfect, almost too perfect. And what we did is we stepped back and we realized that, well, when you go to a show floor, in a real car show floor, you realize that step 20, 30 feet away from the car, these cars look impeccable. And the closer you get, you start noticing these little tiny imperfections that make the cars real. The telltale signs of that these were built by human beings. Scratched rotors, orange peel on the paint, those kind of little touches. What we realized was in order to make our cars, take our cars to the next level on the Xbox One, we needed to simulate that imperfection to make them feel more real. The answer for us was these physically based materials that you were discussing. We wanted to base everything you see in the game, every object is based on a real world physically based material. So it just brings it to life, brings those little imperfections to life, and makes everything look beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. Just seeing the car in, also you guys have added, you've had the Forza where you can view in what I forget what that's called.
Forza Vista.
Forza Vista, that's right. And it was only available for just a number of cars in Forza Motorsport 4, but now it's going to be available for every single car.
That's right. We only did it for 24 cars in Forza Motorsport 4, and now every car in Forza Motorsport 5 will have Forza Vista mode. And for those of you who aren't familiar, this is a method of walking around the car. You can pop the hood, you can actually explode the car, and I don't mean blow it up, I mean open all the windows, the trunks, and you can get inside the car and just really explore what's so special about every car in the game. And there was a really successful feature for us in Forza 4, but it was limited in the fact that you could only do it with a handful of cars. Now, every car in Forza 4 you're going to be able to explore, drive, collect, paint, all the things you expect to do in Forza Motorsport.
Yeah, it was. It was amazing. The graphics look amazing in Vista, and then seeing after the race, the oil, just the tiny little imperfections. The graphics were just unbelievably amazing. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about personalization. When it comes to personalization, it seems like you guys have made it a lot easier for gamers that might not necessarily be good at personalizing and putting details on how their car looks, and you guys have made it not just easier but more beneficial for gamers and that actually create some really intense designs that would probably take them a long time and a good amount of effort. Yeah. Can you touch a little bit on that?
Of course. There's 2 sides of that story. There's the creator side. There's the people who create our liveries, people who spend hours just building these liveries from scratch and creating these incredible cars that people love to see and put on their own cars. In older versions, we've had the storefront in Forza Motorsport 4 in the auction house where you could buy cars, you could buy these paints, search for these paints, and find your favorite painters and essentially purchase their wares and put them on your car. What we wanted to do is really take that to the next level for Forza 5. With Forza 5, when you purchase a car, you'll automatically be suggested, hey, here's three or four paints that you might like. And as you take these paint jobs and put them on your car, the system will begin to learn exactly what kind of paints you like. Bill mentioned in the demonstration that he's a Simpsons fan. So the next time he purchases a car, it might be a bunch of Simpsons paints that he wants. We're sort of removing that barrier of you don't have to go searching for your favorite paints. The game will learn your favorite paints and offer them up to you. And another barrier of the past was you had to pay for these paints. In Forza Motorsport 5, you don't have to pay anything. You have to purchase a car, but once you own that car, you can put on any paint you find on any car you own. On the opposite side, we realized that people liked making money for their paints. They liked being rewarded for their efforts. So with Forza Motorsport 5, we're allowing you, the painter, the creator, the more your file is used by people and raced in races, you'll build a sort of popularity score that will be reflected on leaderboards, and you'll get paid for your work by the system. So you'll still make money for painting, you'll still move up the leaderboard, you'll be rewarded for all of that hard work that you do.
Yeah, it sounds great. You guys have taken a whole bunch of levels that, in the Forza franchise and just really, delved into them and expanded on them. Even the drivatars, for those of, anybody that plays the Forza franchise, I'm sure is familiar with drivatars. But you guys have even expanded on that, can you want to just talk a quick minute on that?
I'd be happy to. For those who don't know, Drivatar was a system we had. We called it Drivatar AI back in the original Forza Motorsport. It was actually developed by Microsoft Research in Cambridge. And it was a system that you could essentially teach the car how to drive itself. It was ahead of its time at the time, but we realized quickly that it wasn't necessarily fulfilling the goals we wanted it to do. The Xbox 360, we tweaked it a little bit, added a few things, but when it came time for the Xbox One and Forza Motorsport 5, we broke it down to its core and really started to build it around the ultimate goal that we had for it was we want to mimic real driving behavior, real human behavior. Your driving style is different from my driving style. That should be reflected in the profiles this system builds. So with Drivatar, now, as you play the game, the Drivatar system learns how you drive, where you're good at, what corners you're good at, what corners you're not good at, what kind of paints you like, what kind of tunes you like, and all of these things contribute to your profile. And so as soon as you put down the controller, your Drivatar goes to work. It's always racing even when you're not there. And it'll be using the same tendencies, same strengths and weaknesses that you have. And when you come back to the controller, the Drivatar will have raced, you'll see how well it did, and you'll be paid for your efforts. So it's an always learning system. Every race is different, and you'll never be racing alone.
That's great, man. So between the drivatars and the personalization, the Forza 5 is always just constantly, it's actually working for the gamer, for the benefit of the gamer. And drivatars you can put in, I guess, and fill a race if you don't have enough friends in driving and you don't want to play with random people, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You'll never race alone, just like we were saying. And it's in every mode in the game. So if you're in a multiplayer lobby and it's not filled up, you could fill it up with drivatars. If you want to race in the split screen, you'll have drivatars there as well. Essentially, however you want to play Forza Motorsport 5, you'll be able to play it and have a great time.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't forget to check out gamersbliss.com for the latest news on your favorite video games. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.